Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is early May 2021. We are in front of the Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas. This was our third trip to San Antonio. We think a lot of well, I can't say little town. We think a lot of this big historic town, and we like the Menger a lot. And, we've had our shots, and we decided with COVID hopefully starting to get under control, we wanted to take a trip. We had some airline miles we had to use up, so we decided to go to San Antonio again. And we stopped by the Menger. It rained pretty much the whole time we were there, but we still had a really good time. It's just such a great city. And this is us kind of out in front of the Menger. There's some shops across the street, and it gets really pretty, especially as the sun goes down. You know, there's a lot of lights in San Antonio, and it's just a pretty city. Kind of looking at those shops again. And these are mostly just, touristy knick-knack shops. I love that sort of thing myself. To our right, just out of view, is the Alamo. The Menger is just a short baseball throw away from the Alamo. When you stay at the Menger, you can have no doubt, you're sleeping where men fell during that battle. I mean, it is right beside the Alamo. Yeah, and like I said, it was a very rainy day. I thought I'd let you listen to some of the rain. I think that's kind of pleasant if you don't have to go run around in the rain. I love the sound of rain. And we are right in front of the Menger. I'm literally filming from a doorway at the Menger, just giving you kind of a view of what's going on. There's those double-decker hop-on tour buses. We've done those the last two times we were in town. We did those. There were two different companies doing them. Now I think there's only one. And those are a good value. I like doing them. I think it's like $40 for a couple of days, and you might get a boat ride out of it too. But I like those tour buses. They no longer take you out to the missions though. And this is in our room. And I don't know if I really shot it. This is right when we checked in. We went into our room. The bathrooms in historic hotels are often kind of crunched up. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the sink literally is built over a little bit of the bathtub, and the toilet's right up against the sink. But again, you kind of expect that with historic hotels. We had a nice roomy room. It was in the historic part of the hotel. With the bathroom, though, you had to step up about 6 inches to go from your bedroom into the bathroom. And I'm filming just kind of randomly throughout the hotel. This is kind of a little lobby area they have. You can kind of look up or look down from the first 3 floors. And this is just really pretty, and I think this has been here for a very long time. It's been a part of the hotel, and I think it's really attractive. We've done a couple of ghost walks the last couple times we've been through town, and they always take you through this area. And I think I just got a little bit of it out of camera angle. We filmed the King Suite, and more on that later. And this, I believe, is just me walking around some of the halls, either on the second or third floor, I forget which. Throughout the hotel, they have these I love these, kind of oversized reproductions of old postcards of the area. And I collect old postcards, especially the old linen postcards. It almost looks like they're paintings on canvases, kind of miniature paintings on canvases. And they look so attractive. And when you blow them up and frame them like that, I think they're spectacular. And the Menger has done a lot of that. Oh, and this is on the first floor in front of the restaurant. Yeah, it's the Colonial Room restaurant there. And yeah, well, actually, we're walking away from the restaurant and just looking around on the first floor. And there's some shops over here actually to the left. I'm looking straight up now. But yeah, kind of over this way. We're about to walk out again. There's an estate sale place. There's an old painting. And I should have focused on that painting a little longer. That painting was actually seen in the classic movie Giant in 1956 with Rock Hudson, Elizabeth Taylor, and James Dean. And I got that information from the book, The History and Mystery of the Menger by Docia Schultz Williams. I hope I pronounced that right. More on that book later. And just let me step back a moment. That was our breakfast one morning. We had breakfast in their restaurant. All 3 mornings we were here. Pretty good breakfast. They were doing a buffet, and one thing I liked, especially now with COVID, they actually had staff that would get you your food from the buffet. So, you didn't have 100 different people touching utensils and that kind of thing. I really liked the way they were doing that. Also wanted to mention, this is a little courtyard outside the Menger that we thought was really pretty. I didn't have any time to go out here and read, though I wanted to. We also had a really sweet little waitress named Araceli. Araceli or Aracelli. I can't remember how it was pronounced. But she was wonderful. Yeah, and right here I'm kind of going, this is on the first floor, just some kind of common areas where they've got some old menus, old letters, old pictures relating to the hotel. And I just kind of walked through here and did a little bit of filming. You can kind of look at it at your leisure. I believe we're by an office. I love some of the old fixtures that are still around. And of course, this is an old historic hotel. I kind of really didn't establish that at the beginning of the video, but the hotel has been here before the Civil War. I believe it was built, they started it about 30 years after the Battle of the Alamo. Everybody has stayed here. Lots of presidents, lots of historical figures. There are some pictures we'll see as we go through here. I know there's a great photo of Babe Ruth standing in front of the hotel. Oh yeah, there it is right there. And of course, Teddy Roosevelt recruited Rough Riders here from, I believe, from the bar. He spent a lot of time in the bar here at the Menger. I think we're going down there right now. General Grant, Robert E. Lee have stayed here. Lots of other people. There's a picture of Bill Clinton eating ice cream in one of the other areas. We just went by the restrooms beside the Menger, and the hotel is famously haunted. And one of the few times in my life that I've experienced something that I might describe as ghostly was in the men's room right there. And I say might have. I was in there on our last trip through town, and I just thought I heard somebody talk to me, and I looked around and there was nobody there. Could have been a rational explanation. It was just a very weird situation, but I thought I heard somebody basically greet me or sort of ask if somebody was in here. It was kind of a hello, somebody in here kind of sound. I looked around and there was just no one in there with me. And of course I could have heard something else, who knows. But it was, it was a little eerie. So one of the maybe 5-6 times in my life that I've had a questionable experience myself was here in the Menger, and I just wanted to mention that. And of course the bar there is famous for its association with Teddy Roosevelt. And yeah, there's some pictures, more pictures of the Menger and some of the guests. I mentioned before the book, The History and Mystery of the Menger Hotel, and I wanted to mention it quite a bit. I've read this book a couple times. It's a fun book, and the author actually has written several Texas ghost type books, and this one does cover the ghosty stuff that happens in the hotel, but it covers a lot of the history. And it's just a fun book. If you're going to stay at the Menger, if you're going to San Antonio, find a copy of the book. They're easy to find, and it goes over just a lot of stuff that's happened at the hotel. And I like this book. I like it a whole lot because there's a lot of research. It's a thoughtful book. There's the swimming pool. I didn't go out to the swimming pool while we were here. I know when we were younger, when my wife and I were younger and we first got married, every time we go to a hotel, the first thing we did was go to the pool. And it's been decades since I've been in a pool. It kind of loses its thrill when you get past your 20s, I guess. Well, I wanted to mention another book that I like a lot, just about San Antonio. It's The Haunted History of Old San Antonio by Lauren and James Swartz, who own and operate the Sisters Grimm Ghost Tours in San Antonio. They're a sweet little couple. This was our first time in San Antonio that we did not do a ghost tour with them, but we still stopped by their shop. They actually have a shop inside of the Menger. It's kind of on the outside part of the Menger, but they have a shop and they sell, t-shirts and if you're into haunted ghost type stuff, well, they sell it. And they're sweet people. They've been doing their tour for a long time, and they have definitely been imitated and copied. But they are, if you're going to be in San Antonio, that's the ghost tour group that's just well established and kind of set the standards. So I wanted to mention their book. I wanted to mention them. Here's a little case of stuff. Actually, if you rewind about 10 seconds, they have right there on the left, there's a copy of the book. The book I mentioned a little bit ago, the mystery, the history and mystery of the Menger Hotel. And these are some little display cases of some of the stores that are inside the Menger. Yeah, I think that's interesting. There used to be a King and Country miniature store. They sell toy soldiers, and it has recently moved out of the hotel, which is sad because it was pretty cool, and they had an Alamo diorama in there. But Davy Crockett's Cabin has replaced it, and we stopped in Davy Crockett's Cabin actually for quite a while on this trip. The fellow who runs it is very nice. He cares a lot about the Alamo. He cares about the history. Just a nice guy to talk to, and he had some cool stuff. And it's if you're going to be in the area, go over there and just talk to them because not only do they have cool gifts to take back home to your friends, they've got some cool suggestions about things to see in the area. And there was a cool display on Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders. There's some, and of course, this is a popular hotel for weddings and for photo shoots. The weekend we were here, we were here for 4 days, 3 nights. There, of course, was a wedding party doing photos in the lobby and in some of the areas. And this is kind of the main area at the Menger. That painting right there, you can see it over there. I think that might be about the only time I filmed it. There's a great story about that painting also in the book, The History and Mystery of the Menger. I believe it was in the 80s, actually identifies the lady in that painting. And it's just a really, really cool story. Going down, there's some display cases. Here's some shops over on the right. All of these shops are really cool. There's one in particular we went into that sells, kind of cool Menger postcards and stickers and things like that. I love that sort of thing. And then they've got these display cases that are all just fascinating. And actually, the book I mentioned before talks a little bit about some of the things in the display cases. And I'll let you kind of look at some of these things as we go through. God, I love old postcards. Just love seeing them anytime, even if they're common. I love old postcards. But there is a little display we'll pass here in a little bit on Robert E. Lee. And it talks about, I believe he gave a locket to one of the Menger children. And there's a story about that. And there's also, I believe, a receipt for the funeral on Sally White, who was an employee of the hotel, and her husband shot her in the back and she died. I think it was her common law husband. And the hotel actually paid the $32 funeral cost. I forget what year that was. I want to say late 1800s. But that's a famous story attached to the hotel. And both books I mentioned earlier cover Sally White. And of course her ghost supposedly haunts the hotel. Yeah, there's a picture of Robert E. Lee, and there's a story that he rode Traveler into the hotel and placed a locket on one of the little girls' neck, on the neck of one of the little girls, and it's just a famous story. I don't know about that though. I don't know if I can see General Lee riding in on his horse, on Traveler specifically, and doing that. I don't know when Traveler died. I need to look that up. I've been, if you check my blog, I've got some pictures up. I've been to where I've been to Lexington, Virginia, and I need to look that up. I don't know when Traveler died, but that's a good story if nothing else, for sure. Yeah, and I wanted to mention some of the other famous people who've stayed here. There's the drummer boy of Chickamauga, kind of a famous Johnny Clem, stayed here. If you're into the Civil War, also Gutzon Borglum, the legendary sculptor of Mount Rushmore, spent a lot of time here. In fact, on one of the Sister Grimm's ghost tours, if you take the bus tour, or they have a bus tour, and they took us out to the cemetery where his son Lincoln Borglum is buried, and I thought that was pretty exciting. Yeah, so everybody has stayed here at some point. One thing about San Antonio too, I love historic hotels. San Antonio has them. They have a ton of them, and the Menger is definitely one of the most notable. It's kind of the heavyweight champion of historic hotels in a town full of historic hotels. There's a couple more right beside it. There's also the Gunter Hotel, where Robert Johnson famously recorded, I believe, half or most of his known recordings that still exist. There's just a lot of interesting history, hotel related, in San Antonio, and it's just a fascinating city. Even they've got the Alamo, they've got music history, they've got the Menger, they've got Teddy Roosevelt. This is just an exciting town if you're into history. And even on this trip, we went and we spent some quality time at the Alamo again. I'll put another video up on that. If you care, I've put up other videos about our previous trip, one of our previous trips to San Antonio. I did make a couple of videos. They're longer, but if you're interested, look elsewhere on my YouTube channel. And something else about this area, about the Menger specifically, and about the Alamo, if you're gonna be in this area, is it's all centrally located. This was the third time we've flown in. We got a taxi to the Menger, and we just kind of used this area as a base of operation. On this particular trip, we walked everywhere we wanted to go for the 4 days we were in town, and then we ended up getting an Uber out of town, or to the back to the airport. But this is the kind of area where you can go. You can get a nice hotel near the Alamo, and you can basically walk to all of the other great sites around. Yeah, there's the picture of Bill Clinton, and he famously mentioned their mango ice cream and how good it was, and it's very celebrated. I did order some while we were here. I think I've got a little video of that ice cream. You'll see it later. It was delicious. Even if you don't care for historic hotels, go there and get the mango ice cream. It was great. Menger has a great old elevator. We took it several times. Oddly, one of the nights we were here, we got on the elevator and a couple of young girls got in with us, teenagers, probably 13 to 16. And I asked, as I always do, hey, what floor are you going to, so I could push the button for them. It's kind of an etiquette thing, I believe. And I think it kind of scared the girls. I think they were kind of creeped out that I asked them what floor. And as they got off, I heard one of them say, "You don't ask somebody what floor they're going to." So that was a little weird. Is it just me, or is that... I mean, I thought that was etiquette. Every time you stepped on an elevator, you asked the other person, which floor, so you could push the button for them. But I think some young people just might not have gotten out much. It was kind of funny, but I kind of felt bad for them too. I didn't want to scare them to death. And as you saw just a moment ago, there's the old kind of drop mail box. I don't even know if that's still used. It looked like it was still operational. I thought that was pretty cool, where you could kind of drop your mail from the third floor and it would get down to wherever they take care of the mail on the first floor. Walking around again, one thing about the Menger, and I explore when I stay at a historic hotel. I like to explore it thoroughly. There's 5 floors. 4 you can get to on the elevator, and then one more kind of above it. But there were 5 floors that you kind of have to, navigate a maze to get through to get to the top ones. There is that mango ice cream, and it was good. Yeah, I'm kind of missing it right now. It was $6, which actually I thought was a pretty good deal for what it was. We did go into the Menger Bar, and it's historic. We're actually sitting upstairs. There's kind of a little upstairs area. It's a very small bar, and if you read the ghost books, a lot of haunted activity type stuff happens here, and it's kind of a dark, kind of dank little place. Again, we're sitting on the upstairs area, kind of looking at a mirror down into the first floor area. And I've been in here a couple of times. They actually give you a ticket for a free drink when you check in. We ended up not using those tickets. We don't drink, for one thing. I kind of wanted to keep the tickets in my scrapbook too. And yeah, just to be honest, there's usually 1 or 2 people working here. The times I've been here, yeah, it's it's a bar. Expect to hang out. You're gonna spend a couple hours anyway. Service is slow. I don't want to say it's slow, but it's just scarce. You've usually got 1 or 2 people trying to take care of 20 people, and yeah, so that's the Menger Bar. But you have to stick your head in here because it's historic. And it is cool. I mean, just the thought that you're hanging out somewhere that Teddy Roosevelt hung out. That's cool enough in my books. But yeah, you get a rough idea. Yeah, we're up here on kind of a balcony area. There's a little seating area here. And then right under us is pretty much where most of the other people in the bar are at. And yeah, we sat here for a little bit, and then we just, it was... We wanted to do some other stuff with our time while we were in San Antonio, so we really didn't have time to sit and enjoy a drink here. So, but yeah, you definitely have to stick your head in here for a moment or two when you're at the Menger. Yeah, and here I'll end on this. This is the King Suite. Yeah, Captain Richard King. He was a wealthy fellow who was in this area doing business a lot, and he would stay here at the Menger, and this was his suite. And actually, the door was open. I'd heard that they'd leave it open sometimes when nobody was checked into the room. I wasn't sure if I was invading someone's privacy or not, but the door was open. I went in very briefly just to take a quick look. So this is, yeah, probably the most legendary suite in the hotel. And that is the bed that Mr. King actually died in. And you can rent that room for the night and spend the night there. And of course there's ghost sightings and everything else. But yeah, so anyway, that was my video of the Menger. I hope you enjoyed it.